this. Dirty rats. Come on. You can't buy that kind of awesomeness. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Carafano joining us. Jim Carafano.
There is something that you can do, you personally as an individual, to make the world safer for your children and your grandchildren. And that is listen to Almond in the Morning.
Jim Carafano, you know what? I missed you in D.C. It seems like everything happened so fast. I did drive by, as I told Genevieve, in a cab. My son and I were driving by on our way back from on Friday. I don't know what we were doing, but we saw all the hubbub at the Heritage Foundation, but didn't have time to stop in there. But anyway, sorry I missed you, but I was thinking about you, especially when we went to Arlington and watched the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and I thought, boy, this is right up the Jim Carafano alley. It was great.
No, we're glad you got here for a really historic moment. I actually have a history story to share with you.
Yeah.
So when Dwight Eisenhower was elected president, he came to Washington, and then he'd been posted in Washington and worked at the Defense Department, but he was not a Washington insider. And he came here after essentially, the New Deal had run this town for 15 years. And to people in this town, he was like somebody who had parachuted in out of Mars, right? He didn't talk right, he didn't act right, he didn't go to the right cocktail parties, he didn't talk to the right reporters. And the town was perplexed. They just didn't know how to deal with this guy. Now, he has a very different personality than Donald Trump. So I'm not equating them, but this is the same dynamic that we saw in the 1950s. Trump comes into town. He doesn't talk like these people. He doesn't act like these people. He doesn't say, and they literally sit around with their jaws dropped, and they just don't know how to deal with this. And after a while, people just learn that the president, Eisenhower is just going to be Eisenhower and get used to it. And I think that's what's going to happen here. People are just going to learn it's Trump being Trump, and they'll just get used to it.
Well,
because he's not going to change.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have to. So that is for sure. And I also want to tell you too. There's so much that I would love to talk to you about historically, because on the way back from Washington D.C., we stopped by the Antietam battlefield, which was really just such a. I know you love history and you love particularly the Civil War history too, but. Man, that was really something. Have you been there before? Probably a dumb question, but
no, Antietam's great, and Gettysburg is the Eastern battlefields. I mean, one of the things that our country is, and we're the only people that do this. Nobody else does this. We preserve these battlefields as really living monuments to the sacrifice. And you go to almost any place in Europe. To some of the most famous battles of Europe, and you don't even know they're there. I mean, right. Waterloo is kind of really the exception. So, that's kind of like places like Arlington. We acknowledge the service and sacrifice of people who largely volunteer to defend the rest of us. And one of the distinguishing things about what it means to be America is we understand not just the incredible value of freedom and liberty, but respect the people who are willing to serve and sacrifice to preserve it.
One of the most exciting and unexpected things at Arlington was we're walking down after being at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and we're walking down, or maybe it was after we were at the Eternal Flame, so we were walking down, and there's Joe Lewis's gravesite. And I had no idea he was buried there, and I was so pleased to kind of look into the history of Joe Louis and what an amazing person boxer Joe Louis was in having a unbelievable career already. And then once we got into World War II, he then enlists in the Army.
Yeah. One of my favorite spots is when you walk in, there's the Women's Military Memorial on the right.
Right.
I'm straight ahead. And then if you make a right, there's just a little hill there. And all together are some of the real stalwarts of World War II: Omar Bradley, Pete Quesada. And they're like my buddies, because I was a big World War II historian. And sometimes I just go there, I just walk around them.
Yeah,
because they're all kind of grouped right there, and it's a magical place. I'm going to tweet a picture when we're done, because we went for the wreath laying, which was an unbelievable day. It's incredible that literally in just hours, every gravestone in Arlington has this wreath on it,
Right.
except for the Jewish ones. And so we felt really bad because like the Jewish ones don't have them. The Jewish tradition is you put little stones right on the graves.
Yeah.
That's the Jewish thing, right? So we said, we're going to walk around and we're going to put little stones on the Jewish graves. Well, first of all, there's a lot of Jewish graves, so we were going to get them all done. And the other thing, everything was frozen that day, so it's like concrete, like to try to get a little rock out of the ground.
Yeah.
But it's that is an absolutely kind of breathtaking thing to see. I'm going to tweet you some pictures when we're done.
Yeah, I could, we were there for a short period of time. I could have just spent all day there because there was so much to see and take in. And then of course, you have the view of Washington, D.C. from the top of the hill where L'Enfant's buried. And it's who designed the city, but it's just there's something just so amazing about that every American should experience because it just makes you, if you hadn't respected and loved your country already, it just really brings it home for you. Love it.
I was in Hawaii with Gary. I'm name dropping. Okay, no, with Gary Sinise. So is a great lover of veterans, just an incredible guy, and he told us it's an unbelievable story about a guy that he knew was killed in Iraq. He was an Air Force pilot, and they only found a very small piece so they buried it, and in the grief and everything else. Then later they found another piece, so they bring that back. They reinterred them all over again. So they had a second funeral, and then just a few weeks ago, an Iraqi guy said, "Hey, I've got something you guys want," and he had bought the Al Qaeda guys had taken the body. He bought the body from them, and he gave it to the Americans. And so they brought this guy back who died during the in Iraq years ago, and they buried him for the third time. So Gary and the widow and the family buried this guy 3 times in Arlington.
Wow.
Yeah, so you have to go through all that emotion all over again.
Yeah. That's
unbelievable story.
Incredible.
I'm not a spring chicken. So I've got friends and mentors. I mean, for me now, Arlington is I have, people that I knew and loved it.
Yeah.
And so it's not just a place.
Yeah, just a place, right? No, I understand that. I can imagine. Well, listen, man, I appreciate that. I'm sorry I missed you up there. Everything was just happened so fast, and we were back on the road by Sunday.
It was wild, crazy. It was really something. And then and I got to tell you, because I worked on the presidential transition team.
Yeah,
they are just working their way through the playbook. I mean, they are, all this stuff they said, when we get in, we're going to do this. And man, it's just been every day. I was over at the Department of Homeland Security the other day when they swore in Kelly and announced the immigration and border security stuff. And it's just, they have this town on its ear. I mean, people just, just shell-shocked.
I mean, it really is amazing. I mean, the clip at which he is running, and I noticed that they said that I kept seeing something on CNN or something that had some kind of headline like about how controversy erupts after President Trump signs the wall executive order. I'm thinking he said he was going to do this for a year and a half. What are you talking about?
No, and that's the other. I just read a stupid article in the Washington Post that goes, "Oh, this guy isn't it ironic? He's being just like Obama. He's signing all these executive orders." But there was a big difference. Obama signed executive orders to subvert the law.
Right.
Virtually every executive order that Trump signed basically says, go back and enforce the law.
Exactly.
Those are 2 very different things.
No question about it. Jim Carafano, man, I could talk to you all day as always, so we need to have some time, but maybe next time up in D.C. But love you, buddy, and thanks so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your weekend, friend.